What's up, guys? Today we're going to be working on the bar tank. You've heard me talk a lot in the past about how I really don't, this is for something else, how I really don't like the aquascape. I was kind of like gifted all of this and I've been trying to clean it up over time, and I think I've done a great job, but it's just never been what I wanted it to be. But hopefully that's going to change tonight. When I said this was for something else, I was lying. I ordered a ton of manzanita off of a secret site that I use for manzanita wood. I was planning on setting up a 75-gallon discus tank, and I was going to use most of it for that tank, but obviously that didn't happen. Now we have the 40-gallon that is set up that uses a lot of it, but I still have a lot left over, mainly these two big pieces. So we're going to use these pieces in this tank instead of the wood that's in there currently. The wood that's in there is just awful. Like if we go to the other side, you can see it a lot clearer, but it's literally just like this really ugly stump that's never done anything really well. This piece that has a bunch of very clear cuts in it, like it's very unnatural angles, and then this one piece that's kind of skimpy, and then this other piece that just kind of uses as a base for the Java fern. But it's never been like a really good actual scape. You can kind of tell it's kind of dirty. I've been dumping plants in here. The wisteria or the water sprite that was growing in that tank, I pulled it out because it was just taking up too many nutrients. But that's been growing like crazy. All the roots that it's been putting out, it's just taking up so much space. So today I'm gonna actually go through the whole tank, clean the whole tank, clean off the substrate. We've got a ton of soil, like aqua soil, floating up to the top where it should be just clean sand. So I'm gonna get rid of all that, siphon all that out, clean the substrate, or kind of siphon the substrate just a little bit, not too much, but we'll clean up the substrate a little bit, clean up all this extra stuff that's down on the ground, clean the glass, and then replant these plants and change up the scape a little bit with this stuff. All right, so really quick before we start time-lapsing, I was just pulling the lids off earlier, just a second ago, so I could pull all the plants out and then pull the hardscape out and then start cleaning and changing things around. And this is what the water sprite has been doing on the surface. Like this is all just above the surface, growing like crazy. And it's really cool, and I wish we could keep that, but I mean, we can't see it, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna pull all this out, probably thin it out a little bit because it's a huge plant, and replant a bunch of it in here. But yeah, time to go to time-lapse mode. All right, so far this is what we've got. First of all, big fan of all this. This is kind of hidden back here. I'm kind of thinking that's just gonna be the way it goes. I definitely need to thin out this sword a little bit more to kind of reveal a little bit more, but I think this is mostly what I'm gonna go with, scape-wise. I think like the rocks and stuff around this piece of wood, or these pieces of wood, it looks just awesome, especially the fact that the rocks continue down here, and maybe we'll do some more or something over here, but I'm really liking it. Now I'm basically just gonna do a deep clean on the tank, clean all the glass. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to manage the substrate this time. I'll probably use that little sieve thing to try to clean it up a little bit, but I don't really have anywhere to put the substrate once it's like sieved out and the sand is below it. So we'll see. I think definitely in this section, I just want to have a bunch of crypts and probably just more dwarf sagittaria. So I want to just fill in as much space as I can. We'll probably put some, this is a lot of rock, so we'll probably put Java fern here, probably put Java fern back in here, and then maybe some more back in here. You can't really see very well, it's kind of cloudy. But that's why I'm gonna go ahead and clean, basically do a water change, and then reassess and add the plants. lot of scrubbing. Obviously I missed a couple little spots here. I'll get those later. And siphoning of all the dirt and stuff that came up around the tank, and siphoning a little bit of the substrate, because this stuff is less dense than the sand. So if you lightly go over it and kind of stir it up, that stuff will start to sort of float and stir around, and you can siphon it out. So as you can see, we just have a ton of it in there. So got a little bit of it out. I need to buy more sand before I actually, try to cover a lot of this stuff up, because right now I just don't have play sand. I don't have anything to replace if I just siphon out a lot of it. I should probably talk to the camera more. But I can't show the tank if I'm doing that. It's a stupid idea. This is the tank. That's what we want to see. But yeah, now that it's drained sort of, you can really see sort of what I'm going for. A lot of densely planted stuff back here, and then this just structure of wood coming down over here, with a little bit of stone under here and back here and smaller. It's getting like, this is like the heavy point, even though the plants are heavy back there, and it just kind of thinning out like gradually. I think it looks really, really, really cool. This actually really reminds me of my friend Mark Chen's, or TMK Aquarist, if you know him, on Instagram or YouTube. This really reminds me of his river tank. Once it's filled up, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. But it's also really making me want to change up the stocking a little bit. Maybe switch to dwarf cichlids or something like that instead of the gouramis that I have in here. I don't really know. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and add some more plants. Probably Java ferns, like I said. I still have to do those. Gotta add the water sprite, and I'm probably gonna add, now that this is the way it's scaped, we're definitely gonna wanna have dwarf sagittaria and cryptocorn all along this front edge as well, not just up here where we planted it originally. So I definitely want to have the carpet wrap around, have just, yeah. I'm just gonna get to work. All right, I filled the tank back up, and I really think this is gonna be a really, really, really good scape. I thinned out a lot of stuff, added a lot of plants. Let me walk you guys through a little bit. So you probably saw me adding the Java ferns. My girlfriend was being really needy, so I had to stop filming and kind of text her and talk to her for a bit. So there are some holes probably in that time lapse. I didn't catch everything, but yeah. So the Java ferns here, tiny bit back here. Obviously, the plants in the back have been thinned out a lot. Actually, that guy floated up. That's what the water sprite floated up. But yeah, back to the water sprite. One little one here, one little one there, and I have one little one planted back there that I need to replant. He kind of came out, and this stuff gets huge. This is what I had, and that is a bush like that you would find in your yard. So obviously I can't throw that, just plant it in here. This stuff grows super fast, so don't be put off by the size of these little plants. These will grow super, super thick. I'm gonna have to trim these guys a lot, and they'll grow pretty quickly. It'll be really bushy really quick. This is right here. You can see one of the weird leaves. That's an Aponogeton. Just threw it right here. There were a few crypts, like maybe 2 or 3. I just threw in here along with a little bit of dwarf sagittaria. I'm gonna have to pull out some dwarf sag from that tank. That tank is full of dwarf sag. As soon as the algae is gone and dealt with in that tank, I'm gonna pull a bunch of it out. I might break down this tank sooner than I thought I would. But that's another story. But I'm gonna pull a bunch of those plants out here and just carpet the crap out of all this. And I may end up pulling some of these crypts out and planting them more toward the central, like hardscape. But I freaking love this so far. Obviously, like I said before, a lot of growing in to do. This whole section is going to be very, very dense in a few weeks. It's going to be crazy. The swords are going to grow back. There's 2 swords here, another sword right there. All of the Cryptobalancea has been extremely thinned out. I took probably 5 or 6 plants, like whole plants out, and then thinned out the remaining ones. So a lot of growing to do. Hopefully that'll still just kind of come over the top, and then the swords will fill in a little bit more laterally this time. Right now they've been growing kind of straight up. I think it's probably has something to do with the lighting, too much lighting basically. But yeah, once this fills in, I think it's going to be really, really, really nice. The wood will also get darker, so don't be turned off by that, how bright it is. Like my camera's kind of having trouble capturing everything because the wood is so bright. The sand is also, you know, the same kind of color, but this will darken over time. It'll look really, really nice. But yeah, I'm thinking about changing up the stocking now. I think some dwarf cichlids would be really cool in here. Like I said, it reminds me of the river way too much. It's weird. I'm about to text Mark and tell him that it reminds me of the river. Especially once it starts to grow, it'll be cool. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time.